Good evening. Welcome. And at this point in our conversation, we're going to start out with an invocation, and that's going to be done by our emergency management leader, Chris Newkirk. Chris?
Right. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Commissioners, let us pray. Lord, we come to you now and just give you thanks for being the God that you are, Lord, for the blessings that you give us, Lord, for the opportunities that you allow each of us to have just to make a difference in the community around you. We just thank you for your presence and your guidance, Lord, and we ask that your presence fill this meeting tonight, that you just give us discernment, Lord, wisdom to make decisions that are pleasing to you, Lord, and just allow us to do so with the spirit of humility, Lord, and that all of our actions and our words be a reflection of you and better bring your word or better bring others to know you better. Lord, we thank you for these things. We ask that you bless this meeting and all involved with it. Lord, just continue to give a blessing and caring hand for all those in our community. Lord, and we lift these things up in your name. Amen.
Amen. At this time, we call the November Board of Meeting to order, and I'll ask that you stand up, and Tandy is going to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
If you will, at this time, please turn your devices off. The first item here is conflict of interest disclosure. Is there anyone that has an agenda item that they need to discuss or disclose? Okay, hearing none, we're down to the approval of the agenda. Entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion second. All those in favor of approving the agenda, raise your right hand. Okay, thank you very much. We're down for items for presentation, and the first one is a service award presentation, and that'll be done by Dolores.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. We have one Beaufort County employee here tonight to receive their award, and that's Mr. Billy Elks with the Water Department. And Billy has 10 years of service. Congratulations. I also have a number of other employees I'd like to recognize that are not here tonight. Brian Cox with our Sheriff's Office has 5 years of service. Corey Parker with our Health Department also has 5 years of service. And Holly Jones with our Finance Office has 10 years of service. We also have Mardrecius Edwards with the Department of Social Services, who has 15 years of service. And we'd like to congratulate all of them for their service to Beaufort County. That's it.
Thank you. Okay, the next item is going to be discussed by Commissioner Tandy Dunn, so I'll let Tandy lead that off.
So we've had some discussion about the occupancy tax, and so I've asked the Magellan Group if they would come and make a presentation to commissioners today. So we have Mr. Chris Kavanaugh from the Magellan Group. So if you would, sir.
Thank you, Commissioner, and good evening to the rest of you as well. I'm here at the invitation of Commissioner Dunn to helpfully educate and provide some additional information about a lodging occupancy tax, what that consists of, and how it's generally implemented in the state of North Carolina. In North Carolina, we have what's basically called a TDA, or Tourism Development Authority, which was the vehicle created by the state beginning in 1983 to oversee the investment and collection of occupancy taxes across the state in individual communities. It's considered a quasi-governmental body. It is an independent body that generally is appointed by either a city council or a county commission. It can only be created by a specific act of the North Carolina legislature. Every community that has a TDA and has a lodging occupancy tax has a specific act which governs that particular community and allows the commissioners or city council or town council to formally authorize an occupancy tax. Legislation is always specific to that community. As I mentioned, the first occupancy tax was passed in North Carolina in 1983. There were 7 counties in North Carolina at that time that began collection of an occupancy tax. 90 counties across the state are now enabled to collect a tax. There are also within counties, 110 separate cities and towns that are also enabled to collect an occupancy tax, much like you have here with the city of Washington, which is able to collect a lodging occupancy tax within the city boundaries, city limits of Washington. Across the state, tax rates range from 1% to 6%. They are generally 6% in most places now. The total rate cannot exceed 6%. The only exception to that is Mecklenburg, where it's 8%, in Charlotte. They use additional 2% to fund the operation and development of the NASCAR Hall of Fame there. It often comes up as to who pays the lodging occupancy tax. And I want to be clear that this is a tax that is only applied to commercial lodging. Also, too, if you happen to rent your house for, say, or a room in your house for less than 15 days and you don't put it on Airbnb or VRBO, the 2 leading platforms for vacation rentals, you're exempt. So if you decide that you're going to start charging your mother-in-law occupancy tax to come and stay in your basement, that won't apply. For rentals made via Airbnb and VRBO, that tax is paid directly by those platforms. It's not paid by the owners. Those 2 companies collect the tax at the time of booking, and then it is paid directly to each community where the tax is incurred. I want to also be very clear that occupancy tax is always in addition to sales tax. Any property that's paying sales tax that would qualify under state law and where there would be a law is also paying sales tax as well, in addition to occupancy tax. And a question that often comes up, particularly in the eastern part of the state, tent campgrounds and RV parks are mostly excluded unless they have cabins, rental cabins, or other types of permanent types of lodging on the property. But otherwise, a tent campground, something that's on wheels like an RV, would not pay the tax. Since 1997, there's been a standard provision that generally covers most occupancy tax legislation in the state. And it mandates that the tax that's collected has to be invested in 2 particular ways. At least 2/3 of the revenue has to be invested in the promotion of tourism. So the promotion of a community, a destination, to help drive overnight visits, to help stimulate the visitor economy. And then up to 1/3 of tax revenue can be invested in what we call tourism-related expenditures. Tourism-related expenditures have been defined by the state of North Carolina as expenditures that, in the judgment of the TDA, are designed to increase the use of lodging facilities, meeting facilities, or convention facilities where the tax is collected in a city or county. The term includes tourism-related capital expenditures. Now, across North Carolina, that 1/3 of revenue has been used to invest by communities to invest and to support a variety of different projects, including capital assets, stadiums, arenas, convention centers, wayfinding signage, visitor centers, museums, greenways, ball fields, and so forth, as well as non-capital expenditures such as events. A lot of TDAs do grants for putting on events in communities. If we look in particularly in this county, because of the nature of Washington's existing occupancy tax, the legislature would likely create a separate taxing district that would cover only the incorporated parts of the county or other communities that wish to be a part of this same legislation. You, as Board of Commissioners, would serve as the ex officio governing body of that district and serve as the officers of the district, which would allow you to levy the occupancy tax, determine the rate of taxation, and appoint a tourism development authority board, and that should say via the legislation. This would not impact the City of Washington's existing lodging occupancy tax, and would not apply to any incorporated would not apply to any incorporated part of the county unless they wanted to be a part of this tax as well. Other cities and towns in the county could conceivably still have the opportunity to create their own tax or own TDAs unless it was covered specifically by this occupancy tax. There are a number of places around the state that have a lodging occupancy tax which applies only to unincorporated parts of the county or only to certain parts of the county. And I've listed some of these here. Harnett, for instance, just outside of Raleigh, has a tax which only covers basically the city of Dunn. But they also have other communities within Harnett County that are covered by this tax. We see a variety of different structures across the state. Some of them are collaborative. Watauga, for instance, which is Boone, has up in the Northwest Mountains of North Carolina. Watauga has a single visitors bureau, but they have two separate TDAs, one for the city of Watauga and then one for the unincorporated parts of the county. Those two boards coexist, but they have one promotional effort that promotes both Watauga County and Boone as a joint entity. So I'm happy to take any questions at this time as to the specifics, the dynamics of how this works. One other thing I'll note is that generally the mechanism for this is that your local legislative delegation supports the tax unanimously, agrees to introduce a bill in Raleigh. Usually, those bills are considered by the Finance Committee. Then they move on to the legislature as a whole. They're typically now consolidated into a single omnibus bill, which usually is passed on the last day of the legislature each session. So happy to answer any questions about the mechanics and dynamics of either setting up a TDA or how the money can be used.
How do you find people to tax? How do you find businesses to tax?
Good question. Okay, so local finance office, your county finance office would be responsible for making the announcement that there's now this tax once it's been approved and the date has been set. Generally like to have enough lead time. Two things happen. Any hotels are generally easy to find. We know where they are. They operate as hotel businesses. The VRBO and Airbnb, which now rent a significant portion of vacation rentals, they're notified by the state and we have a new county that's collecting the tax. And then they remit directly to the county finance office. So VRBO, Airbnb would collect the tax on the online platform, collect the tax, and then remit directly to the county finance office. The tricky part comes with any entity that's not renting a room via Airbnb or VRBO and is not a hotel or a motel or a bed and breakfast. That's the hard part. I've seen a number of different approaches, including I've seen counties insert a notice into the annual property tax statement that goes out saying if you meet these qualifications, you have to submit a monthly occupancy tax to the county finance office. I've seen other finance offices make an effort to identify via online where those properties might be, just searching out properties that are promoting themselves that might be located in the county and are not using Airbnb or VRBO. But Airbnb and VRBO now represent a significant portion of the rooms being rented that are not hotels and motels.
So if there's not a statute these rental businesses cannot be collecting a tax for Beaufort County if there's not a statute.
That's correct.
They can't collect any tax in Beaufort County except in the places that the legislature has passed legislation that enables.
That's correct.
Okay, well, there's wild rumors out there that they're doing it.
Yeah, and I understand why, and this has happened in other counties that I've worked in, where there's been a new tax, is because particularly Airbnb does not distinguish. They lump everything into a taxes and fees number, regardless of, so they're collecting the money, they're just not remitting the money. And so they're collecting it, they have, and you can go online and see it now for an Airbnb online. I was in a public meeting in Stokes County about 2 years ago. We had a public meeting, and we had a couple of owners of vacation rentals come up and say, well, they're already collecting it. I said, they're not remitting it back. It's just going to their bottom line.
But that's against the law.
I agree.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else?
And there is a portion of the income that's drawn in that the finance department is able to keep for administrative purposes.
That is correct. There's usually a percentage as defined in the legislation that is up to a certain percent, and then that is worked out with the county finance office.
And Bath, Bellhaven, the communities that are incorporated in the county, that if they wish to join in this venture, they may do so. It just has to be written out in the legislation.
That's correct. It would be written out in the legislation, and it would be done so with usually the support of those local town councils.
How would we do a study to find out what the potential for tax collection would be? Because the last time this came up was about 10 years or so ago, and the commissioners decided at that point that there wasn't enough revenue out there to make it worth our while in this county.
Good question. There's now a company I subscribe to called AirDNA. And what they do is they go online and look at rentals through VRBO and Airbnb. They'll go online, they'll show you where the rentals are, they can show you how much demand is being generated, and so you see how much demand would be generated in a single year. It's generally a good estimate. It's not perfect, but it's a very good estimate. They look at basically the online records. Doesn't identify specific properties, but we can go and outline every part of Beaufort County, and according to this reporting service, AirDNA, we can go and look at what the potential revenue might be based on the revenue, tax revenue based on the sales revenue that they're generating. And that would also, potentially, we would also look at any hotels that would be affected as well.
Well, I think the one thing that's different today versus when we looked at it before is we just didn't have these rentals. I mean, we were looking strictly at the hotels.
That's correct. That's the big difference across the state. And we've seen an increase in 2002 statewide. There was a total of $89 million in occupancy tax being collected at all localities. In fiscal 2024, there was over $450 million in occupancy tax revenue now being collected. Some of that's due to demand. Obviously, just particularly post-COVID, travel really boomed, particularly to the rural areas, mountain areas, and beach areas of the state. We also saw a lot more. We saw increases in the occupancy tax rate in a number of communities, and then the demand for vacation rentals obviously just exploded after the pandemic.
Brian?
Just one question. You mentioned some that were not included, but are extended stay facilities included in an occupancy tax?
If a guest stays for longer than 90 days, they do not have to pay occupancy tax. And so those come up oftentimes, particularly with locum tenens, doctors, and medical and nurses and so forth. But if a guest stays longer than 90 days, they're entitled to a rebate of their taxes.
So it's collected and then remitted by
Correct.
the county finance office back to those folks through a procedure where they would appeal that or show some
Correct. I'll give you a good example. In Boone again, App State during the pandemic put a lot of their students up in local hotels to help spread them out during the pandemic. The Watauga County and Boone TDA had to go back and provide App State with a refund of taxes that had been collected during that time period because they were still considered hotels at that period, at that time.
Good. I appreciate you coming out, and I'm sure there'll be further discussion.
Okay, very good.
Thank you.
Thanks. Okay, the next item is Citizens Academy presentation by Brandon. Okay. Congratulations on the Saturday football game.
Thank you. I've been trying not to pay attention to the Belichick nonsense, so I've been stepping back this season.
Take that as a great compliment because he's a diehard
He
guy.
he knows that. Huh? Oh, they won. Yes, they did.
Good evening, Commissioners. We're excited to be here today to share some information with you about our new Citizens Academy that is coming. It'll begin early next year. You may see similar models of Citizens Academies in various cities, counties, everywhere you look. This is our opportunity to really give people an in-depth look at county government, how our various departments work, how they work together, and hopefully give them an opportunity to just learn more about the county in which they live. Keegan, our strategic projects coordinator, brings a lot of experience with this. He actually helped Kinston set up their Citizens Academy. I believe it's called Kinston 101. And I've had the pleasure of working with him on this. He's brought a lot of great ideas, a lot of experience, and he has more information for you. So here's Keegan.
Thanks, Brandon. So I'll go a little bit more in depth into the details of our Citizen Academy. So this is an 11-week course designed for citizens interested in learning about the inner workings and daily services provided by the county. This program will allow citizens to learn about every single aspect of county government, as well as give them unique opportunities to talk to department heads and city leaders and ask them questions about why the county works the way it does and specific operational context to the county. So our academy, in thinking about how we set it up, we had 4 main goals. The first was to inform citizens about county operations, as well as give them opportunities for engaging with the county. The second was to invest in citizens interested in future public service. We'd like to grow a cohort along with future cohort and design an alumni program so that folks can continue to get involved with committees and other opportunities with government. We'd like to build and strengthen relationships between citizens and public servants here in the county. And we'd also like to use this as an opportunity to learn from the citizens participating in the program to see where we might have some blind spots and opportunities for improving communication. So in order to graduate, applicants must attend 8 of the 11 sessions, including at least 1 Board of Commissioners meeting. And the program is going to run from January 23rd to April 10th. So applications open Wednesday, November 5th, and they'll close January 2nd with notices of acceptance being sent out by the 9th. There's a $50 participation fee that's payable upon acceptance, but we also have financial waivers available upon request if that's a financial burden for folks. So anyone with any questions are invited to reach out to myself or Brandon or visit the website online. And I'm also happy to answer any questions you might have about the Academy.
Is this a session, a day-long event, or how's that going to work?
It's a 2-hour-long event, so they'll run from 5:30 to 7:30 p.m. Thursday nights during that, each Thursday for that 11-week period.
Did you say the School of Government had anything to do with the UNC School of Government is behind your project? No?
No, sir.
Okay, just curious. And since I've got your attention, I'm going to speak on Charlie Kirk later tonight about his assassination in Turning Point USA. Has your association, your group, thought about getting in touch with Turning Point USA and just working with them, since they've become the largest youth advocacy group in colleges today and probably high schools as well?
When you say by association, are you referring to NCACC, the School of Government?
Yeah.
Sorry, could you please clarify?
Yeah, I was wondering if North Carolina Association of County Commissioners were working within their contacts with you to get involved with Turning Point USA. Since a lot of those kids are growing up and they're very interested in being involved in the government of our United States and local governments going forward. I was
Sure,
wondering
yeah,
if that was on the consideration block.
Well, I can't speak for any of the leadership at NCACC, but I do know that we always encourage and we are excited to see any organization that's exposing new folks to local, state, and federal government. But I can't speak for any of the NCACC leadership.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Anyone else? Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. It's a great idea. Okay, we're down to the next item, which is Operation Greenlight for veterans. Brian?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. As you'll recall, for several years now, the National Association of Counties, NACO, put together Operation Greenlight for Veterans, an opportunity to recognize veterans as they come out of service and transition back into civilian life. And for the last several years, Beaufort County has participated in that program. We essentially take lights that light up our buildings and put green shades on them so that it projects a green light. And that is a symbol for our veterans that this is a safe place and we support them as they transition out of the military back into civilian life. We have the resolution that we would ask for you to approve. I'm happy to read it. It is the same resolution that you've used for the last several years that NACO established.
Okay, I think we can move right into the action. Got a motion to approve?
Second.
And a second. All those in favor of the resolution supporting Operation Greenlight for veterans, raise your right hand. Thank you. Okay, we're down to item number 5, federal government shutdown impacts update. Brian?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Lori Leggett from DSS and Janelle Otkin are here tonight to have some conversation with you about what they know currently regarding the federal government shutdown. I sent some information to the board on Friday. As you recall, we had a meeting with all the county managers. The North Carolina Association of County Commissioners put together a conference call late Friday with DHHS officials regarding the SNAP program. And at that time, they were still in the opinion that it was going to cease funding in November the 1st. You have heard over the weekend and again today that there's been some change in that there's been some directives from the judiciary that the administration needs to fund that as best they can with contingency funds. I think they're still waiting as to what that means and exactly how that occurs. The media is publishing reports that are saying they're going to fund SNAP at 50%, but I'm not sure all those details are worked out. I know that we haven't gotten any guidance yet from the state on that, so we don't know. But it is a significant program. I think the estimates that they talk about is between $8.5 and $9 billion with a B billion dollars a month nationwide. So pretty substantial impact. And a pretty substantial impact in Beaufort County. So I think Lori's got some updates, and Janelle may have some updates on what they know.
So that is the update for the SNAP. The other thing that we have is for the block grant. So that's the senior nutrition program, which we do at the not East Haven. Yeah, 7th Street Rec, it used to be at East Haven. We operate that center. We do home delivered meals out of there, and the in-home aid program, we have funding all the way through the end of November. So currently, we're okay with that until next month. Questions for me?
Well, yes, I do.
Okay.
How many senior nutrition meals do we serve a day?
So at the congregate site, we do between 20 and 30 meals a day. And for home delivered meals, we do 71 or 2.
Those home delivered meals, are they picked up at the congregate site?
Yes.
Is it by volunteers or do we pay people to deliver?
No, it's all volunteer.
All volunteer, okay. How about the SNAP program? How many people are we serving in the county with the SNAP program?
So people is 8,374 people, so individuals, that's 4,465 cases.
4,000, how many?
465 cases.
What do you have to do to qualify to be in the SNAP program?
Okay, here's our SNAP guru right here.
So I could probably talk half the night about the Food Nutrition Services policy because there's several different eligibility requirements that we have to look at for all of our applicants. We certainly look at income. Income is certainly a factor, and that is something that we do have to verify in order to determine eligibility. But we also look at, in the determination of the amount that someone is eligible for, we look at some of what they call income deductions, which is considered as rent, mortgage, a utility deduction if they're paying child care expenses, property taxes, homeowners insurance. So there's several different things that are looked at to determine the amount that someone is receiving. But there's so many different pieces of the Food Nutrition Services policy. We'll have to look at if someone is a drug felony or has a drug felony, they may or may not be eligible for benefits. So there's several different factors that we have to look at just besides income.
Do you have an estimate or knowledge of how many people are actually holding the job that get SNAP benefits?
I do not for Beaufort County. I have seen on the news several sites that have gave a percentage, but for Beaufort County, I do not have that number.
We just don't keep the statistics that way, is that it?
It may, if we did some research, we may be able to get that number, but I do not have that.
How long, once you get on that program, can you stay on it?
So depending on the person and the income that they have, individuals that are disabled and receive like Social Security income, their certification period is set up for 1 year, and then we have to review that case to determine, to look at their continued determination for individuals that are working and do not have a steady of income. They are set up for 6 months at the time. At the end of the 6 months, we have to redetermine their eligibility at the end of the 6 months.
How much do they get, like an individual, would one person get?
So an individual, one person that has no income could receive up to $292 a month. Someone that could be working, let's just say you have a single household, they may be working, they still may be eligible to receive benefits. So, a lot of individuals think that somebody working may not be able to receive, but that is incorrect. You could still have income, but receive assistance.
What's that income level?
I do not have that number off the top of my head.
What do you?
I would say roughly $1,300 to $1,500 a month for one person.
Of income,
Yes,
and
sir.
still be eligible.
Yes, sir. And the more income you have, then the less amount of benefits that you would be
Proportional.
eligible for. But then that's where the rent and the mortgage come in. If we are able to verify those expenses, it may help someone be eligible for more benefits.
How is their money paid to them? Is that the card?
The card, once
Okay,
a
and it's
month.
downloaded by internet onto the card?
It goes onto their card once a month. The day that it goes on the card is determined by the last digit of their Social Security number. For example, if their Social Security number ends in a 1, the benefits actually we're supposed to start going on their benefits today. It is done sporadically throughout the month so that everybody is not receiving their benefits at one time, and that is the same for across the state. The benefits are placed on the card from the 3rd on to the 21st of the month.
Did the big beautiful bill that passed Congress, did it change the qualifications for benefits?
So they are looking at it changing. One of the impacts that is going to be very recent, we have not received in the policy in writing yet, but it is coming anytime now, probably within the next couple of months. and it's going to have a huge impact on our individuals in Beaufort County. Currently, we have what we call the able-bodied adults without dependents. That is an able-bodied adult that does not have a dependent that is between the ages of 18 and 54. If they are not working or volunteering 20 hours a week, they are only able to receive 3 months of benefits within a 3-year time frame. They are changing that from the ages of 18 to 54 to 18 to 64. If they are able to work and they are between the ages of 18 and 64, and they're also changing it where if you have a child 14 or older, that policy will also apply. So if you're not working or volunteering 20 hours a week, you will only be able to receive 3 months of benefits.
Every 3 years.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Mr. Chairman, real quick on.
Yes.
And on the administrative side, where our folks are certifying, recertifying, and checking that, the memo that came down from USDA the other day that was reviewed, I sent y'all a copy of that as well. If the program ceases, if they run out of funds like they were anticipating and they stop funding it, it does not stop Beaufort County from having to continue to recertify people and certify new people. So administratively, our folks are still going to be doing the job they do, but folks won't be receiving the benefit. That's a requirement that we continue to do what we do on the certification and recertification. And our hope is that we get reimbursed for that, but we don't know.
How much money, what is the budget amount of this that we're paying per month right now before pre-government shutdown? What is the amount of money that the government gives us?
And the admin cost, I'm gonna have to email y'all that amount. I don't know that I have it for FNASD.
And that's a 50% reimbursement.
Right,
It's a
right.
50% reimbursement. So no matter what, the county's paying 50% of that cost. We're only being reimbursed for 50% of it.
Okay,
And what they're saying, what that memo from USDA said was, if we go into a shutdown and we no longer fund SNAP benefits, counties or states, because there are not many states that still counties do it. The notice from the federal government was, you have to continue to recertify people whose dates come up, and you also have to continue to take new applications for people who are applying for SNAP, even though we're not funding SNAP at the time. So we would continue to have to do that. Our hope is that we would be reimbursed. The state of North Carolina, DHHS, told us that they had high confidence that once the program started back up, a budget got passed, that we would be reimbursed for that, but there was no guarantee.
Well, when we're talking about bridging the gap here, we're talking about the 50, we're already paying 50%. We're going to pay that regardless of what happens.
Correct. And there's
So-
no way for Beaufort County, I mean, we don't even have access to the SNAP cards. I mean, even if you had a couple $1 billion laying around, you couldn't even put it on the cards for them because we don't have access to that. So administratively is the only thing we're being saddled with.
Okay, but I'm getting lost here in the minutia on this thing. If we're having to pay the 50% anyway, who do we send that check to? Federal government, and they put it on the cards?
We're not. We're paying the administrative cost of doing the work that we do, the
We're not paying the SNAP cost. We're
No,
just
no, no.
paying.
We don't pay that cost. No, sir. That's the administrative cost of the administrative burden of managing the program locally.
All right, let's go back to the 50% because I'm lost with that. 50% of SNAP is paid by the federal government.
50% of the salary, the administrative cost, the
Of
salary
the
piece
administrative cost is paid by the,
is reimbursed by the state through the federal government.
100% of the SNAP cost, actual benefit cost, is paid by the federal government. Okay. Well, one of the problems I have with this, number two, is the amount of people that's on this, because that's incredible for a county. It's got like, what do we got, 48,000 population in round numbers? We got 8,000 people that we're feeding. That bothers me a lot. But I don't know how I, in good conscience, can vote to continue paying this money till I know the amount of money we're talking about.
So Commissioner Richardson, you actually don't have we're not paying money to fund SNAP at all. You're simply you are required by the federal government to continue operations as we are right now, whether funding is there or not, which means staff at DSS has to continue to receive applications for SNAP benefits. They're required by the federal government to process those.
Yeah.
They're required by the federal government to recertify people. And the county is required by the federal government to continue that operation. And they're not going to reimburse us for our costs until they get a budget in place.
Okay, here again, maybe I'm lost in the process, and that's what I'm trying to make sure that I understand this. If the federal government shuts down putting the money on the cards for these people, Beaufort County is not talking about funding SNAP.
No, sir.
We're just talking about what we're required by law to do.
The administrative burden of
Oh, gee, that's a great
certifying,
relief.
recertifying. Yes, sir.
Okay, I got you. All right.
Yes.
All right. Is there a contingency plan for you guys that you've been working on, maybe with the state of North Carolina and your contacts with the federal government, if this congressional funding shutdown continues?
So we have been talking with several of our community partners over the last week, as well as our faith-based organizations and our food banks. I actually had a call this afternoon working with the United Way of the Interbanks they are going to be putting the word out in the community that there's a lot of people that is reaching out requesting how they can volunteer, how they can donate items. Donate food, and so Salvation Army is also going to be working with them as well, so that any donations can be sent to either Salvation Army or Eagles Wings. We are working very closely with them on making sure that the food banks across the county are able to help with the amount of food nutrition services, though, that Beaufort County issues a month. There is no way that the food banks are going to be able to equal up to the amount of benefits. We can certainly do our best to try, but coming up with the amount that we issue in benefits a month is going to be harder to do.
I have another question. There are going to be some other effects that are going to originate from this congressional funding shutdown. And it's going to be beyond SNAP, right? And your department's going to be handling that as well. Can you tell me what you expect that to be? Well, are there some other federal monies that come down for social services?
So currently, all of our other funding is still in place.
It is all in place?
It's just SNAP right now.
Okay, so to the public, it's just SNAP we're worrying about for
Right, that's
social
it.
services. Since 2020, the beginning of 2020, can you tell me what the increase in SNAP has been in Beaufort County? You say it's now over 80,000 people receiving SNAP. What was the number of people in 2020 receiving SNAP?
I do not have that number. I could probably go back and
Could
look
you?
and research it, but I do not have that number.
The reason I'm interested, in Beaufort County, we really have not had, on paper, an increase in population. And the economy was great under Biden's, what I've heard from so many different people. I would like to know, did we have a decrease, or did we have an increase, or did it stay at the mean?
That is certainly something I can look into and follow back up with you.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that very much. Can you get that to me in the next day or two?
I'll get it as soon as I can.
Thank you. That's important. How many non-citizens in this nation, in this county, I'm going to get my grammar right, are on SNAP, receiving SNAP?
So I certainly would not have a number of individuals per class of what they are receiving. However, the non-citizens, themselves are not eligible to receive food nutrition services. They are, however, eligible to receive benefits for a child that they may have that is a citizen. There's them themselves, if they are a non-citizen and not a legal alien, then they themselves are not able to receive. So the question there is, they're not able to receive for themselves, but they can receive for their children.
For their children who are non-citizens?
If they're a citizen, they have to be a citizen. So if a non-citizen has a child here, then and that child is a citizen, then they would be able to receive for the child only.
So what constitutes a citizen?
Being bullied.
Well, that's in the Supreme Court right now. They're working on that.
So if you have,
14th Amendment.
if you have a non-citizen parent that has a child here that is a citizen, then they would be able to receive food nutrition services for one person versus being able to receive for two.
Okay. What substantiates the volunteering of 20 hours a week? I mean, how do you substantiate?
We do have to have verification from that, from a
Verification.
reputable organization. It's not someone that can just go volunteer for a grandmother breaking their yard or anything like that. And that is the policy now for the ages of 18 to 54. So we refer them, individuals, to places like Salvation Army. They could do work at Eagles Wings, any of the local churches, Martha's Project in Belhaven. There's several different organizations that take volunteers, but we do have to verify that 20 hours, and that is 20 hours per week, per month. And we do have to verify that someone continues to do that at every recertification when they come up eligible for recert.
Do you do that rigorously?
So when the case is set up for 6 months, so every 6 months, we have to verify it for the last 6 months.
Well, the reason I'm calling it the congressional funding shutdown, a lot of people have been blaming President Trump for this. He's the president. He doesn't fund all the programs in the nation. The government does through the legislative branch. That's where funding begins. That's where bills are ratified, and then they are sent to the president to, veto it or not veto it. If he doesn't veto it, then it becomes law. And the CR, continuing resolution, which is basically the same one that was in force under Biden, has been approved 13 times. But so far, in the last number of weeks, it has been voted down in the Senate 14 times because there is a filibuster enacted by the Democrats to keep this from working and going forward. And that's why we have that's why right now we have a federal government shutdown, which is a congressional government shutdown, since the legislative branch is not doing their job. The filibuster, which was enacted years ago, would require that you go and speak on the Senate floor for a long period of time, and during that time, it just kept going on and on and on. They stopped that. I'm speaking to the public now, so everyone will know. This is a short civics lesson. They stopped that, and excuse me, I have the floor. If you want the floor, please take it later, but I've got it right now. What has happened, and this is what is going on in the Senate right now, they are not acting. They will not act. They voted against the continuing resolution 14 times for whatever reason. There's a whole lot of hypotheses of why they are not furthering our government and keeping the shutdown from happening. Republicans have the executive. They have the House. They have the Senate. 52 Republicans have voted for the continuing resolution. 3 Democrats have voted for it. And there are a number of Democrats, over 40, that are voting against it time and time again, although they voted for it 13 times when Biden was president. So this is why we have the shutdown. Republicans are not involved. They're waiting for the Democrats to open up the government. And they have a reason. We don't know what the reason is. They have all kinds of ideas, and they're throwing them out. Usually, right now, the reason is it's Mr. Trump's fault why the government is being shut down. Everything's his fault. I mean, peace in the Middle East is his fault. A lot of things are going on, it's his fault. So I just want this to be, and I want us to accurately know that we have a problem, and it's not going to get fixed until it politically gets fixed at the federal level. So if you could get me these other questions that I've asked, the information, I would appreciate that.
Yes, sir.
Because I think it's all interconnected.
Does any other commissioner have a question? Brian, is there anything else we need to address?
I think Janelle's going to speak to WIC.
Okay, I'm sorry,
Yeah,
Janelle.
fine. I'll be.
I forgot you were sitting there.
Good. I was being quiet. Good evening. So I actually received an updated email today that the WIC is in operations, can continue through November 30th. The state has agreed to fill any gaps in funding through the end of this month. So that is a different update than I sent an email a couple of weeks ago. And that's kind of how it is right now, as we are day to day, week to week, waiting on emails, waiting on updates. The state has assured us that they are continuing to look for additional funding to help fill gaps, but obviously we want the budget to pass. As far as contingency, I know I heard that mentioned. I'll go ahead and kind of speak to ours. So for us, very similar to SNAP, if funding was, we would be receiving a no WIC order basically, because we are 100% funded federally through WIC, which means even if I had staff in there, they could not do any WIC activities. Our contingency plan is we have positions open that I'd be able to fill gaps with the individuals we have there. There is one position through WIC, which is our peer support breastfeeding counselor, and that actually would be safe. It is on a different funding stream, even though it's federally funded, and it still has 2 more years. Are there any specific questions regarding WIC and some of the changes?
How many people are on WIC in Beaufort County?
It's about 800.
This is women, infants, and children?
Yes, sir.
Total?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And about 247 we currently have on formula, and about 50 breastfeeding. Because remember, obviously, we serve kids up until the age of 5, so they're not going to be on formula and all that
That
stuff.
was the next question.
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome. Yes, sir.
Yes.
Same question I asked Department of Social Services. Excuse me. Regarding WIC, what has been the increase since 2020 in the amount of people getting on WIC? If you know that number, that'd be great. If you can't, you can send it to me.
I can definitely guesstimate, because the state currently works with us almost very diligently to increase our caseload, but I don't have that number specifically, but similar to DSS, I'll be glad to get that to you in the next few days, just so you have that specific
Thank you.
number.
I'd appreciate that.
Yeah, no problem.
Anyone else? Thank you very much for the
Yes, sir.
update. Okay, we're down to the public comments, and we have 2. Carol, you first. And since we have, looks like 2 new people here, we have a 3-minute limit on it.
Okay.
And I don't know whether you can see it, but it'll be on the screen.
Okay. I'll definitely keep it to 3 minutes. I have about 500 minutes worth of information in this book, but I have shared it with most of you. I'm here today to speak about the occupancy tax legislation. I want to thank Tandy Dunn for reaching out to me, and absolutely for inviting Mr. Kavanaugh here to speak to us, to y'all tonight. I am an Airbnb owner, but I'm also the Belhaven Executive Director for the Belhaven Community Chamber of Commerce and Welcome Center. So we are a little tiny part of what we can offer in tourism, but we don't have the dollars that a TDA could do. We also have space. If you want to put a TDA office in our Welcome Center, we have room for that. And, I could probably get it administrated for you. A couple of little things that I want to say is that, the Belhaven Town Council has already accepted they would like to see a TDA formed in the county. They're all on board with that. As Washington, a lot of you I know live here and around in the Washington area. As citizens, you're already reaping the rewards of the Washington TDA. The surrounding areas in the county, however, are not. I happen to be wearing a shirt. Today's my day off, by the way. I happen to be wearing a shirt from the Whirligig Festival in Wilson, North Carolina. If you've never been to the Whirligig Festival, it is put on by the TDA, and it is wonderful. There is vendors everywhere. There's music playing. There's whirligigs everywhere, and it's a great time. And that is just one of the things, one of the types of things that a TDA can bring to the different areas. Beaufort County is only one of 8 of the 100 counties in North Carolina that do not have a county TDA. And I think that speaks volumes about it, you know, to everyone. Now, when you guys go anywhere and you stay overnight, you're paying TDA. And I did a little down and dirty. I know one of y'all had a question about how much money are we talking about. I used just the 27810 zip code, and I used my own Airbnb, which I only charged $75 a night. So that was $10.50 that they were saying was occupancy tax. It might have sales tax in there, but we have 91 Airbnbs in the 27810 zip code and 13 VRBOs, and Kayak was listed 28. That equals 132, but I used 100 short-term rental properties for the number that I had, and it came up to $176,400 annually. Now, let's just say I'm way off base and we use a factor of 4. That's still $44,000 that we're not getting annually, $44,100 that we could be using to promote tourism in our county. I have receipt copies here from Airbnb and from the Bath Hotel where they're collecting occupancy tax. It's right on their receipts. We're not seeing any of it. They're collecting it, we're not getting it. We should be. And that's what I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Carol. Nancy?
Good evening. How are you guys? I heard sports being discussed, and I'm afraid I'm not very good at that. I'm hoping you survived the trick-or-treaters and the time change. I'm pretty much going to say the same thing as Carol said. We have the opportunity to get some funding to help us. I'm from Aurora. Aurora is way down there, and we have little to nothing. We have people with Airbnbs in our area. I looked it up. We had 29. That's funds. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but that's funds. Can we not have the opportunity to have those funds? They're there. Everybody else gets them. Why can't we boost our economy in our town and through this part of the county and have the opportunity to grow? We lost our school. We lost our grocery store. We lost our bank. What have we got? We've got a little waterfront. There's some beautiful fishing. Absolutely lovely kayaking. Got no place to stay? Yes, we do. Could we not bring some of that revenue back and build? Versus somebody else just leaving, moving. Our kids are going to Pamlico. People are moving into our town that thought they had a school. They don't. So now, why can't we bring the tourist trade in to boost our town? Why can't we do that? So, consider us. We're just little folk, but if enough of us get together, we become big folk. We like to have people come and enjoy what we have. It's beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you, Nancy. Okay, we're down to legislative updates, and I do not see either one of our legislative representatives. We're down for items for consent. I'll entertain a motion to approve those.
Motion to approve.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay. All those in favor of the consent items, raise your right hand. Those opposed? Okay. Now we're down to economic development, and Susan, you're up.
Like those Dodgers. Sorry. My daughter-in-law.
You got some East Carolina people up here that
Yeah, sorry.
are really pulling for the other team.
Good evening. I am here regarding Project Passage, the Washington Beaufort County Industrial Park roadway and utility expansion project. This effort represents public investment and will strengthen essential infrastructure and unlock approximately 35 acres of land for industrial development in the Washington-Beaufort County Industrial Park. Our office completed a pre-application for the Department of Commerce Industrial Development Fund grant program in support of this project. The Rural Infrastructure Authority met on Thursday, October 16th, and approved our pre-application. Governor Stein then approved and announced a grant award for Beaufort County in the amount of $1,254,675. The total estimated cost for this project is $1,672,900. The required local match of 25% will be shared between Beaufort County and the City of Washington, and pending board approval, a full application will be submitted to the North Carolina Department of Commerce to access the approved IDF grant award. It is the recommendation of our office to approve the submission of the full application to Commerce, to accept the IDF grant award of $1,254,675, and authorize the creation of a dedicated project fund for the Washington-Beaufort County Industrial Park roadway and utility expansion project, also known as Project Passage. Thank you.
And just for the record's sake, can you tell us the amount the county will have to pay?
The county is half of the 25% is $230,024. And it's my understanding that portion would be paid out of ARPA funding already with the county.
Thank you.
The only question I have with this is,
Yes.
it says the county will pay the 25%, but we're splitting it with the city. The resolution says the county's on the hook for the whole 25%. How do we handle that?
So typically, that's the way we've done it in the past. We're the lead agency on it, so we have an agreement with the city that they would contribute their part, and their money would come to us. The whole project would flow through the county. The funds from the state would come to the county as reimbursement.
Okay, the council has already approved this.
That's our understanding. We have a commitment from them that
Okay.
that they're agreeing to.
Motion to approve.
Wait, excuse me. Can we put all three of these into one motion? Okay, so we're talking about the application, the resolution, and the project ordinance.
Still the same. Motion to approve.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
All right. Any questions?
Is this going to be in the city limits?
It is the city zoning jurisdiction, yes.
ETJ.
The ETJ.
It's in the county.
It's in the city.
Yeah.
Annex.
That was all.
Spot annex.
City gets taxes off of that.
So we're paying to pave the road and put in the sewer and the water to go back there. So the city will maintain the road and the sewer and the water after they come in. And the city fire department and the city police department's going to surface
Yes,
there.
it will be serviced by the city.
Well, I
So,
just,
so one correction on that. It's our intent for the road to be built to state standards, and for that road to be turned over to the North Carolina Department of Transportation. Yeah, it should not be it will not be a city-maintained road or a county-maintained road, since we don't have county-maintained roads. Our intent is to build it to that spec and for the state to take over it, just like the other roads out there.
Do we have any other comments? Okay. All those in favor of the motion, raise your right hand. Thank you, Susan.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, we're item number J, items for decision, emergency service, DC, and Chris.
Good evening, Chairman, members of the board. This is about the DEN system. that we brought to y'all on January the 6th, 2025 meeting. Emergency Services received a unanimous approval to participate in the fiscal year 24 state and local cybersecurity grant program. This was a 70-30 grant that would supply Beaufort County with a distributed emergency network system and Starlink capabilities, which would enhance the continuity of government operations during infrastructure failures. This DEN system is supported by Starlink hardware and services that would provide the county with an independent internet solution featured with a built-in server connected to its own network. The system can ensure uninterrupted telephone communications, internet access, and data sharing, even among remote or disaster-stricken areas. It enhances real-time collaboration and situational awareness among public safety agencies, improving coordination, decision-making, and incident response. By fostering a seamless connectivity, the DEN system empowers agencies to address emergencies more efficiently. So this is a 70-30 grant opportunity. It was amount for $42,000 with the federal grant, 70% of $29,400 with the Beaufort County match of $12,600. In your packet, it talked about the total number. So the complete DEN system is $31,184.08, and then it's broke down how the Starlinks go. So this is a do not exceed grant. They give us the amount. Our first initial, we went for more, but due to cuts and all that, they dropped us down to this level. So we anticipate some needs for 2 additional cases for the Starlinks and portable power stations for each Starlink device and data cables and connections that would allow us to connect this system to any county building if we're under a cybersecurity or any kind of failure.
That amount of money is included in the 31,000?
So the whole.
Power backup?
So yes, sir. So that would be the extra. So out of this, the whole thing is $42,000. Our local share is for $12,600. But with this, it's a do not exceed type loan, or excuse me, grant. So the Starlinks are broke down to roughly $400 a piece, and there'd be 3 of those. But with the extra money that we have for this grant, we buy the protective cases and the data connection cables that we would need.
So the total cost is $41,000?
Yes, sir.
All right, has this been run by our computer expert, our contractor, Ms. Johnson? Is it Ms. Johnson? Has she approved this?
So when we started doing this, it was for the DEN system as if there was like a continuity of government or for an emergency situation. We have talked to her about this, and it's different the way how all of their servers are. So our conversation that we had was, if something happened, we're backed up in the cloud. But we don't have to wait to get back on track. We can take this DEN server and take our backup data and put it in this and still run.
She approves this?
She knows about this.
No,
Yes, sir.
no, that's not the right answer. I'm not willing to vote for this unless she approves it. Because this can foul our whole system up. And right now, we've got a very good system that's operated very well. I think I move that we not consider this until she approves it.
So the integration into our server or taking the place of a server that may become corrupt is just one of many features that this DEN system will allow us to do. So the biggest piece on this that we saw, and you see these deployed across the state as well, is anytime municipalities, and Helene was a big example of this, when these cities and municipalities or county governments lost the connectivity, whether it was phone, internet, or whatever it may be. This allowed them a portable server, so to speak, that they could come in and get up and running, okay? That's one of the features that it has. The Starlink piece that we're looking at, and we are meeting with Sherry to discuss what data cables and things we would need to connect back in. Our goal with that would be, so if anytime we have an internet interruption in any of our county buildings, which does happen probably more frequent than what most people realize. Most of the time it's down for a small amount of time. But our goal would be using this grant to have, for example, those Starlinks that we could walk to a parking lot, we could set up and run a cable inside the building and plug into a server after talking with Sherry to make sure that everything is safe and bring that building back up online. The DENS system can be used to supplement a server that becomes corrupt, can be used to put a mobile office up somewhere else. It has a lot of other features other than just related to the IT piece that Sherry serves for the county.
Chris, but I think Commissioner Richardson's question was, y'all have had a conversation with Sherry about this system, and she's okay with this system.
We have had conversations, Sherry and I have had conversations in the office. I did not ask her approval. I just asked her what she thought, and she said that, this sounds like a good system.
Well, look, we spent a lot of money on her recommendation for Barracuda system and a whole bunch of other things for backup. Unless all this stuff works together, you've got a problem. So she's our expert, and I think that we need to get her approval before we go forward with this.
Another thing about this DEN system is it is a great piece for continuity of government. It's also in an area when we lose communications or we're doing a search and rescue mission. With this DEN system powered by the Starlink, we could be in the middle of anywhere. I say anywhere. I could throw the signal up within a 2-mile radius, hook up 248 different units that are helping in a search and rescue. In this box, it also has WebEOC, mapping software, Sartopo, Polaris. So when we use drones or anything like that, we can map and it helps our search and operation missions. That's another good piece about this.
Well, I still have a motion on the floor. Do I hear a second that our computer expert approved this system to be hooked up to the county system? That's all we're looking at.
If I could add one clarifying piece. Go ahead.
So if I may ask, if the board would consider this, Commissioner Richardson, if I understand exactly what you're saying, and that was my understanding as well. But if the board, and I don't know, is there a time frame on this? Are we under the gun? Can this come back at the next meeting?
From what, the only thing that's pausing us right now is the federal shutdown.
Okay, so it can come back at the next meeting.
If the federal shutdown allows it to,
Okay,
yes.
we'll have that for you at the next meeting.
Okay, I've got a question. A couple of questions.
Sure.
Okay, so let me see if I understand this. It's Starlink, it's up in a satellite. That's where the signal's bouncing back and forth. A server is somewhere among all the other servers that Mr. Musk has, right? And that will be a separate server backed up probably by other data collection information devices. Is there any way that this is even interlinked with our servers? I think it will not be. I think it
It's
should be
actually a
independent.
separate system.
Yeah, I
So
would
the
think it would be a
Starlink,
separate system.
so it's a separate system altogether. So it's in
Yeah.
a rugged case. It's made to go out into the wilderness and on scenes to have communications and operations. The good piece about it is it works great with Starlink. And Starlink is how it gets the communications for the emergency responders to talk.
Now I have another question.
Yes, sir.
We spend a lot of money on communications in Beaufort County. Could this be a way that we can spend less money and use this system more for more communication? Because this communication should be available for interlinking everybody through the county that works in our expanded services when we have problems.
So yes, sir, we could take this case and deploy this case separate from the county, internet system or whatever. We take this case, we open it, deploy it, put it with Starlink. We can send out the code, people can work through this server. It's its own, it's the picture that's in that, on the packet. It has the operating programs that we use in emergency services already on it, offline. So if we can't use our cell phone to use, let's say, Sartopo mapping, and we do that a lot with tracking, and how people go and making the maps when we're doing these missions, then it has a Sartopo offline. I can take this program that's in this box and send you a QR code. You can take this picture and automatically I'm tracking you and seeing everything that's happening. But it also gives us the ability to have 240 different systems of Wi-Fi just to this box, not touching county infrastructure, but if we need it.
Separate and apart.
Yes, sir.
Is there any limit to the amount of time you can use it? I mean, is it unlimited usage?
Yes, sir. So the battery is 30-hour battery life. It's 24/7 support, and it's an offline file sharing, and it does not have to have internet connectivity to run.
Yes.
When we add this Starlink, that just gives us a boost so we can tap in.
The only downside I can see is if the clouds are thick and the satellite's just not getting through. Is that possible, or is that a problem?
So I have Starlink at home, and I actually switched, and it's amazing. I know that when I was deployed in Helene, we run the whole AB Tech off 2 Starlinks.
And the weather didn't
The weather
factor
did not
into
affect
this
it, no, sir.
situation.
I'm pretty sure if we have a disaster, a hurricane or something, it's truly devastating outside in a tornado, we will see some issues. But knowing how I've seen this system work and seen another county that's 3 or 4 counties away, and I was sitting in the office and I hooked up to his DEN system in Currituck County, that was pretty amazing.
I just would love to see us save some money by using one system, or later on, maybe we could start with this and see what kind of a capacity it have for us.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but this system was not designed to be in everyday use. This is designed to be,
that's my
this is
question.
designed to be a contingency piece. And the whole development of this piece, as you may recall, several years ago, it was a pretty frequent theme that we saw municipalities and government entities that had their cyber attacked or their server shut down for these ransom type attacks.
Right, you can go straight to this.
Right, that's the spirit of this box. That's the contingency that this box will allow you to have, where you can come in, if we're having an issue with that, as redundant or as robust as our system is, if we're having an issue with that, this would be a portable device that you could bring into an office. The frequent backups that our servers go through on the cloud, we would be able to download that back into this DENS device and bring our government operations back up to par. That's the concept of this type of device. That's why it's addressed as a contingency and not a primary communications. So by investing in this box, it's not something that we're going to be able to go into a utility closet and take all the expensive things out that Sherry and her group has provided us and plug this in and do our daily operations. That's not the intent of this device. The connectivity piece, as far as the cost, the use, what we're limited to, it's all subscription based. And it's all depending on how much we as a county would want to pay for it. In our proposal for these Starlink devices, we would be using the emergency program, where essentially we do a $5 charge per month per device, and that holds our account in an active status. And if we need to use that, we get online, we flip a switch, and the data's coming. And when we're done, we cut it off and we pay for that amount of data. Versus your normal subscription plans of, I want, 100 gigs, and I'll pay $200 a month for it, whether I use it or not. So there are some service plans that are allowed to us as public entities and emergency groups that allow us to turn on and turn off that service as we need it. And that's what we propose for these 3 Starlinks.
With the availability of changing later if you want to and just pay a higher cost.
That's right. We could turn the switch on when we need it, and if we exceed that threshold amount, I want to say it's $10 a gig, I believe, $10 a gig that you go over your preset limit.
Is a gig like the amount of data that's being transferred?
That's right, all on the amount that you're using. So, documents and things like that, obviously less than streaming videos and things of that nature.
Is there any extra cost for data storage?
No, sir. So this box actually has its own storage device, and I can tell you it's in the tetrabytes of what it stores in its own box.
Wow.
Okay, so we're going to have it on the agenda next month? Okay. Thank you, DC.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Chris.
Thank you.
All right, we're down to Public Works. Christina? First item is NC 33 waterline relocation, final adjust and change order. You heard that, didn't you, Ed? Change order?
Yes, I heard that. Thank you. I was, no chance of letting that slide under. No, I'm joking. It never does. Just to refresh the commissioner's memory, during the February 2023 Board of Commissioners meetings, Beaufort County and the North Carolina Department of Transportation agreed to relocate an existing Beaufort County-owned 16-inch water line due to NCDOT's project, which is constructing a new bridge over NC Highway 33 over Chocowinity Creek. Per that agreement, NCDOT will reimburse the county the cost of relocating the water line. So again, this project, DOT is fully reimbursing us for this cost. Construction was awarded to TA Loving on August 5th of 2024 with a unit price contract in the amount of $1.1 million. TA Loving has substantially completed that project, and the final construction quantities have been determined. The scope of work was revised to accommodate previously unknown existing conditions and to maintain design and installation standards. Change order number 2 increases the construction contract value to 1.1, or just under 1.2, and has been approved by the local NCDOT project personnel. Again, included in your agenda book, you'll see the attached budget amendment, and it gives the specific dollar amount of $60,344.71. Again, this was a unit price contract, so while the contract was awarded, it was with an estimated quantities. When they actually did the construction, some quantities went up, some quantities went down, and so that is what has brought about this change order number 2. Yes, sir.
Motion.
We can do this in one motion, all three. All right? So the motion is for the water line relocation, the budget amendment, and the ordinance.
Yes.
Which basically covers the increase of $60,345. All right? Do we have a second? Okay, we got a second. All right. Any further discussion? All those in favor, raise your right hand. All right, thank you. You want to go to your next item, Christina?
Yes, sir. The next 2 items are related to facility services and to our capital improvement fund that we have for that. The first one is regarding the emergency management roof that was included in the capital fund for this current budget year. So REI Engineers provided professional services to inspect, design, and bid the replacement of the emergency services building roof. REI issued the bid package, conducted the pre-bid meeting on October 7th, and bids were received on October 21st. REI reviewed the bids and provides a recommendation to award the contract for $94,000 to McClure Metal Specialties out of Williamston to replace a approximately 3,060 square foot roof. McClure Specialties successfully completed the work at the Tideland Building in 2023, as well as the administration building earlier this year. So again, I ask you to approve awarding the construction contract to McClure Metal Specialties in the amount of $94,000 and executing all associated documentation. No additional funds are needed. It actually came in less than what the original budget amount showed.
Motion to approve.
Got a motion on the floor to approve and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor of the contract of $94,000, that's on the emergency service building roofing project, raise your right hand. And you got one more?
Yes, sir. Again, going back to the Facilities Capital Improvement Fund, if you'll recall, back during the budget discussion for fiscal year 2026, we did not allocate the full amount of the 1% that was set aside for the facilities projects. The reason for that, there's been quite a bit of discussion about the condition of our parking lots and our pavement at the various buildings around the county. So what I have included in your budget packet this evening are 2 proposals for professional services. The first of which is with REI Engineers. Again, that's the same company that provided our roof assessment previously. But they've submitted a proposal to develop a pavement condition assessment for all of the county buildings and to provide cost estimates. This assessment would be similar to the roof assessment that they previously divided, and it would allow the county to strategically plan for the future. And the cost of providing this service would be approximately $15,250. Again, that's for REI's engineers to go around to all of the existing current buildings, looking at the parking lots, the square footage, looking at the drainage, and then make recommendations about the best way for us to move forward with that, whether it be to go in. Some of them may be in really good shape and they just need to be recoated or resurfaced. Most of them have at least 1 or 2 spots that need some deeper excavation to go in to undercut, go back in and put good material, maybe even put in some fabric to do some bridging, and then go back and when we go back to resurface it, that way it holds up. So again, that's the first proposal for the pavement condition assessment. Also included in your agenda book is a second proposal from REI Engineers, and that is to provide a schematic design services for the parking areas of our downtown campus. REI would study possible changes to improve parking lot function, improve traffic flow, and enhance safety for the building occupants and the public. The cost of providing this service would be $12,500. Again, this is for our downtown campus, so it's the parking lots that are surrounding this area behind the courthouse, behind the Oakland building, the Seaboard building, the administration building, this building, as well as the public defenders. So again, we have the street that runs directly through that, so we'll be looking at some different concepts of how we can make the safety of that area better for everyone, as well as the traffic flow.
Yes.
I understand what you're saying. Do that cover the parking lot in front of the courthouse?
It does not. That would be totally separate. Okay. The condition assessment will look at the quality of that pavement and moving forward, but we're not incorporating that into the flow of the traffic because Second Street, that we're not going to be able to shut that traffic off, so.
That's a complex situation over there because ownership of that's not all county, and then you have private interest, and don't go there and stir it up.
Any other question? All right, entertain a motion on, to approve both of these proposals.
Second.
And we have a second. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor, raise your right hand. All right, wait.
I got a water question
Oh, my.
for you. So Saturday, the water tower in Cherry Run had an excess overflow coming out of the overflow valve. Is that something normal? There was water coming out, going down looked like a drain ditch into the ditch on the road itself. I mean, a whole gallons and gallons and gallons of water.
I'm not going to say normal, but it is something that occurs. I mean, those are there for a reason. I'm not sure. I'd have to get with the gentleman that handled that. I'm not sure if they were filling the tank, overflowing it for a reason, if the water had been in there for an extended amount of time. I'm not 100% sure. That's the first that I've heard about that, so I will check on that.
He got called in.
Okay. That's what I would suggest. But there are times that we do it on purpose. Absolutely, it's done for a reason. But I'm not sure about on this past Sunday, Saturday. Okay.
I've seen it a number of times.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to take our 15-minute break, and we'll be back at 7:15. Okay, everybody's back, and we'll restart. We're down to the items for decision. Finance Office, Anita?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My item begins on page 342, and this is with regards to the construction of the new Washington Elementary School. This is reimbursement request number 10. WIMCO, the construction contractor, has submitted an invoice totaling $3,506,808 for reimbursement for services they've performed during October. If you look on page 343, of that invoice amount, the grant share that the state will be paying is the $2,832,448.98. And then our county share of that invoice is $674,359.22. The school is approximately 40% complete at this time. So things are moving right along, and I'm looking for your approval tonight to not only pay WIMCO, but also submit for reimbursement from the state for the grant portion. And seems like there was one other thing that we were looking to do. I think that's it.
So move for all of that.
Okay, we got a motion and a second. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Those opposed? While we're on the new school, we've got that date set up for November the 18th. Is that right?
I'd have to look at my calendar. I think I sent that out to everybody. I'm sorry. I don't.
Let's look
remember
at
off the top
it.
of my head.
Okay, November the 18th, and that,
Topping out ceremony.
we've not got the exact time yet, have we? Somewhere around lunch, maybe?
I had it at 11.
Did have it.
He mentioned that they were going to send out invitations directly,
Okay.
so.
All right, that's good. Okay, we're down to the manager's office, the extension of the Mideast administrative contracts for Wrights Creek.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. This is, as you're aware, we have contracts with Pardiff and DCM for Wrights Creek. Those have been extended by the state due to some project delays, but this is an extension of the Mideast contract. They are managing those projects for us, handling the administrative side of it. The Pardiff, this would extend their contract for Mideast until January of 27, and managing the DCM contract till August of 26. And we'd recommend your approval.
Okay, got a motion to approve the extension. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor, raise your right hand. Those opposed? Okay. All right. We're down to Commissioner Richardson. The first one you got is McRoy fraud charges.
This is an ongoing court case that still has not been resolved. And what I want to ask the county manager and the county attorney, do you have anything that you want to report having to do with this case?
I have nothing to report.
Okay. The next item is the status of the lobbying on Senate Bill 391. That's the one about mowing the grass.
Yes, sir. So I sent that electronically to Senator Brinson and Representative Kidwell, received acknowledgement from both of them. Senator Brinson just wrote back and said, Brian, acknowledge receipt. And then I got a response from Representative Kidwell that said, received. My understanding that this was requested by DOT. So both of them have it. Representative Kidwell's made the comment that he thought it was requested by DOT. So, but I've not had any additional conversation.
That not mowing grass was requested by DOT? That don't make sense. That don't make sense. Can you go back to him and ask him for more documentation as to what DOT actually requested?
I can, yes, sir, and I will. I do know that there was some conversation that there's, I don't know whether, I think DOT, at least I've heard leadership in DOT has said they have some concerns about the bill, so I'm not sure who asked for what, but I'll see if I can get some clarification from him.
Thank you very much, because it doesn't make sense.
So you're saying DOT may not have asked for it?
I'm saying that DOT may have asked for some things and that may have gotten
different.
I don't know.
Okay.
You know how it is between the House and the Senate floor. The bill goes over here and it's worded this way and it comes back and it's worded something different. It just bounces back and forth. Anything can happen.
I'll tell you that it was a pretty heavy discussion a few weeks ago on our statewide managers call. So the association has a statewide managers call we used to do it every week. We're not doing it as often now since the group isn't in session. But there was some fairly significant conversation about that. So.
You want to go to your next item, Hood?
All right, I've got discuss state of illegal drugs in Beaufort County. You know, all I want to do is keep this in front of people. I'm not sure that we're handling the illegal drug situation as aggressively as we could. This Board of Commissioners voted to not increase the penalties for people using drugs or selling drugs. And there's just a lot of things that need to be done here. I would still like for us to do a resolution to our elected representatives in Raleigh that they engage in the various committees that deal with this for more aggressive penalties, right up to and including building a prison to hold these people in. So that's all I have on that, unless another commissioner has something on it.
Just want to add, I agree with you that narcotics are probably the single worst evil we have in our society today. It affects so many families on so many different levels. It affects our economy. We are entering into a war on drugs, as we're seeing right now in the Caribbean and the Gulf of America, and I'm excited about it. So it wouldn't be a bad idea if we got on board with it.
Well, I think you're right. I think we need tougher laws, because what these people are doing is everybody's making money out of drugs. The people that selling drugs are making money. The lawyers that defend the people that get caught with drugs are making money. The people who rehab people that are using drugs are making money. There's a lot of useless money that's being spent when the very simple thing to do is catch them and lock them up. Or as Trump said before he was elected president, and it's another promise that he has fulfilled, when he was asked how he would handle drug dealers, he said, I would kill them. So he's doing what he said he would do.
He is. In this case, it's probably a good idea, but I
having
think a good way of looking at it is
seen and experienced the pain that comes from drugs, he's doing the right thing.
I think you refer to it as a narcotics industrial complex.
It is. I think that's a good coinage right there.
I borrowed that from President Dwight David Eisenhower.
Thank you.
You want to go to your next item? Hood?
The information content on the upcoming school year on the school budget. What Beaufort County's been doing for the last 15 years is dumping the money and running in the case of the school budget. We have lost control of our schools. The schools are not teaching cursive writing. The state statutes say that they are required to teach cursive writing, and they're not doing that. I have the floor if you don't mind. Randy, you're wrong. I've talked to too many people and too many students. They're not teaching it. So the other thing that goes on with the school budget, we've lost control of the school budget. We've lost control of the schools. The quality of education is horrible. We have students coming out that haven't been exposed to the classics, haven't been exposed to proper history, are being exposed to the fake mathematics, which is deliberately concocted to be an illogical form of mathematics. And this is not teaching our children how to think. So with the upcoming school budget, I would like to see more information than we have been getting with the school budget, and more detailed information than we've been getting with the school budget. And I would like for us to request that the budget be presented to us in a form that we can approve it by purpose and function, because then we will be getting control of our budget. I was at a school board meeting the other night, and they approved an $81,000 bill to continue with some computer program that had to do with literature. Okay, and the translation on this is, we got no textbooks, folks. This is all online, and we're feeding you just what we want you to hear. In the old days, you had textbooks, and you had a library that the student could go to and check out books and with different classics and things that they wanted to read. The online and the computer versions of this means we're simply force-feeding you what we want you to know. And we all know that there's a lot of things in what's being presented to students. I picked up a book from a Christian school in a class that was being taught by a minister. And it was a horrible book with horrible writing, horribly presented, dark teachings. And this was in a Christian school, and it was just amazed at what's going on. We've got to get back control of our schools, and it's up to the county commissioners to start the process, because the school board that we have is not going to start the process, because half of them believe they work for the superintendent rather than the public. So I mentioned that. I'll be back with some more stuff later on. We need to be thinking about it, but we need to be doing a different kind of a school budget this year than we have been doing.
Does anybody want to go before me?
Go ahead.
Whoa, wait, whoa. That I included the community college budget in that. I got one more item here.
No.
Oh, you're going to talk?
Yeah.
Sure.
Excuse me. That's okay. I concur with Commissioner Richardson on a good bit of that. We don't have a lot to do with what goes on with the private schools or homeschooling. I mean, there's certain things we may be able to do in the future, it comes to funding these entities, but right now we do not. We do have total control over public education to some extent. We provide the schools, we provide a lot of money. Commissioner Richardson wanting purpose and function is a grand idea, because one thing we know about the schools, they survive on money. Money's their most important thing. That's what they strive for. They need it, and that's the only control we have. So if we just, as Commissioner Richardson says, and I quote, dump the money and run, we're not serving the people of Beaufort County, because education is in the dumps. And not only here, but in a lot of other places. You see how people act, the way they think, the way they can't even talk. Commissioner Richardson talking about cursive writing. That's a communicative device that kids are not learning anymore. What happens when the computers go down? How are they going to talk to one another? They're having a hard enough time with grammar. It's pathetic if you read the way they speak. So I would just like to say I concur with Commissioner Richardson, and we do need to take a harder look at public education starting right now.
Okay, you want to go to your next item, the ABC board candidate?
Yeah, Joe K. Smith.
Yes.
This board made a mistake in her case, and she was here complaining at the last meeting. And I think the board should issue a apology to her for that mistake. And I make that motion that we issue a apology to Joe K. Smith for the mistake that was made at the board meeting.
What is the mistake that we made?
You swore down she didn't live in Beaufort County, and she did.
Well, if you go to the application, I got it right here in front of me. She fills it out. She says the residential address is 10232 US Highway 17 South. If you go to our GS property summary and you put that location in there, it shows the total taxable value is $6,384, and it shows no improvements. It's just a piece of property.
I went to it and it showed there was a house on it when I looked up her address.
I've got it right here.
You're still saying that she was lying?
No. I mean, this is exactly what she put on here.
Don't you think we owe it to ourselves to do a thorough investigation when somebody says something like this as to where she lived? I mean, the woman retired from the ABC board in Beaufort County and worked here for over 40 years.
Well, she did, but I also did a search to see what party she represented or what, and she's with the Democratic Party.
So?
I mean, it was a
Frankie, the issue,
it was a combination of the two.
The issue is the woman, in fact, lived in Beaufort County, and this board sat here and disqualified for her using the excuse that she did not have a residence in Beaufort County. We owe her an apology for our mistake.
I'm not going to vote for her because she's a Democrat.
Yeah, how about that?
Well, I mean, I did it because of the property map. It didn't show it. I mean, what else am I supposed to do?
Well, see, the thing is,
What do you use as your address? Do you use a different address? You've got several parcels.
I live only in one location, though, so I have to put where I live on my address, or I won't get my mail.
She's got a P.O. box. I mean, we got a motion.
But, you know, you do understand that Vanceboro is a location in that area.
It has nothing to do with that. That has nothing to do with that. I looked up on our GIS system.
Well, you made a mistake.
No, I didn't.
You had to have, because I got a different answer than you got.
Well, I can't help it. I printed it out and circled it.
Well, why don't you go to the clerk down in Craven County and get them to give us a certified document that she's a resident of Craven County, and that'll resolve the issue.
I didn't say she was a resident of Craven County.
Well, where does she live?
Huh?
She lives on Smith Lane. She doesn't live at that address. That address is an empty lot. She lives on Smith Lane. I took the time.
Where is Smith Lane?
It's right behind that empty lot.
Well,
it's
I
right
found
behind
the
that empty
residence
lot.
in what I was looking for.
That address, if you go to it, it's an empty lot.
Right.
She lives behind that empty lot.
Are we saying that we stand free from our mistakes and that we're not responsible for them? Is that what we're saying?
No, I would agree a mistake was made.
Okay.
I would agree a mistake was made based on the address that she gave.
I think this board owes her an apology.
Maybe so.
All right, all those in favor? Did anybody else want anything to say? All those in favor of the motion, raise your right hand. Those opposed? Okay. All right, you want to go to guaranteed minimum income, BHM Library.
Yeah, there was a newspaper article that came out in the last month, and it was talking about social experiments with guaranteed income. Well, guaranteed income is something that's sponsored by the Communist Party and the Socialists and all that kind of mess. So the article stated that some billionaire was funding some counties in a guaranteed income programs. One of them was Mercer County, West Virginia, and the other one was Beaufort County, North Carolina. This was in the Washington Daily News. And one of the sponsors of the program was the BHM Library. Now, the BHM Library is funded with tax money. This shouldn't be going on. This should not be happening. So, what do you guys think?
Well, I can tell you what I think. When you get these people they're setting up, I don't know how he's got it set up. Maybe he's got it set up as a NGO. Maybe he's got it set up as a tax-free exchange, tax-free consideration where that money that he gives becomes deductible. I don't really know. I just know that you can't really mix the private sector with government. Now, if we're giving money to a government-funded entity like Beaufort Hyde, to what extent, that's a question we should ask, to what extent should this government entity that's funded mostly by the government, City of Washington, us, Martin County, to what extent should they be mixed up with this other money? Because that other money is going to have influence. I mean, we see what George Soros has done and others in our towns and cities and large cities where they've taken over and gotten these people elected that are just god-awful people. They're non-patriots, and they will non-cash bail and things like that, and it's just ruining cities. And so do we really want to be sanctioning that in Beaufort County? So we need to ask the question.
Yes.
Well, I serve on the BHM Library Board, and this is the first I've heard of it, and I will say this because this is something I know for a fact. There are folk who work for the library system. Some were making $8. There was a bunch of them who were making less than $10 an hour, had been there for years and years. So if this guarantee is there, I don't know where it is. I don't know where the money is, because some of the salaries of the employees of the library system are pathetic. And I really and truly feel sad and sorry for those who enjoy what they're doing, working with children, helping them grow, but they're really not being compensated. And so I will check into this because I really would like to know about that.
Well, that would be great if you would, and come back and let us know at the next meeting what's going on here, because, the whole issue of a guaranteed minimum wage comes out of California, and it's something that's a political issue. It's not a library issue. It's not even an issue for us as commissioners. It's purely political. And guess what happens when you go to a guaranteed minimum wage? Nobody wants to work. There's a whole lot of things that can happen with this. So we need to look into this, and we need to stop public organizations from playing politics with the public's money.
Mingling with the public's money in this case.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
So I
I remember the conversation. I remember not the conversation. I remember reading the article. There's been some conversation with our agencies within internally with DSS and Health Department about this program that supposedly they've identified Beaufort County as one of those places where you can sign up and into this, and I don't know whether it's some kind of lottery or whatever it is. And it's a social experiment where they've said that if you provide folks a steady stream of income, a certain amount, then they would use that and they'll grow and they'll do other things. And it is it's a social experiment that they're doing to try to do that. And somehow or another, Beaufort County was identified. We saw that. Our folks were real clear, DSS and Health were real clear to people that, if you go after that or if you're selected in that, then be very careful because that's income. And it gets counted against if you are receiving a benefit from the government, whether that be SNAP or WIC or any of those things, you have to report that as income, and that could take you out of those programs. And this is supposedly only guaranteed income for 12 months. I believe initially the United Way was heavy with trying to push that out and let people know about it. I think they've backed off of it now. I don't know that BHM may have just been repeating that for information, but y'all weren't involved with any of that, I don't think. So, but if you'd like to. Sure.
Podium.
Good evening.
I'm Paula Hopper, Regional Director of Beaufort Hyde Martin Library System, and the RISE program that you're referring to. We were approached by a grant writer here in Beaufort County asking if we could provide in Aurora, Bath, Belhaven, and Washington computers, access for people to come in to apply for the program. We are not serving in the capacity to proselytize them to the program, but merely providing internet access for those individuals.
And you're advertising that you're providing internet access?
The RISE program has listed us as a venue where you can access computers.
That is something that you should not be doing. You're using taxpayer money illegally.
Our mission is to provide free internet to whomever wants to use it.
You can have the internet provided free, but you can't advertise the RISE program to come to the library and you support a political movement like this.
We did not advertise it. RISE advertised it.
You support the political movement and you allowed RISE to advertise it, so you're guilty as charged.
Okay.
If they have the First Amendment right to say what they're doing.
Yes.
You just don't have, since you have limitations as a government entity, at least quasi, you get money from a lot of different government sources. You don't have the First Amendment right to go out and say these things unless your board tells you can, and then they've got to answer to us. I think that's the way it works.
This was presented to the board at our last regional meeting, which was last week.
But you're not advertising that.
No, we're not advertising.
But the article's in the paper before your board meeting.
I don't know when it went in the paper.
I did. Look, this is a serious problem. You may take this with levity. This is a serious political problem when people use government tax money to go out with any social or political idea. There are laws against that. And you need to understand the county attorney might be able to help you with what you can and cannot do with tax money. And it is not going political on social programs.
Well, I'll look into that.
We'll sit down.
All right.
And talk. I wasn't at their last meeting because I was in Reston, Virginia, but so we'll sit down and talk.
Thank you.
One question. Were you interviewed by the Washington Daily News?
No.
Well, it sounds like a Washington Daily News problem to a degree.
You need to have you need to disavow your involvement and have the Washington Daily News print a retraction.
I didn't read the article. I'd have to.
That doesn't have anything to do with my request.
I don't know what they said.
That doesn't have anything to do with my request. You are the executive director. You need to be doing your job, and what you're doing is being evasive. Because I don't think you understand the severity and the importance of what you have done.
Well, Hutch, you didn't read the article. A lot of people don't read Washington Daily News articles.
And nobody's going to read the retraction. It's already out there.
That's just an excuse, Frankie.
I think, you know, in the library, when people come in there, you don't control where they go on the internet.
No.
No control at all. So how can you single anything out legally?
Let's go back to the beginning. The Washington Daily News published an article that said the Beaufort Hyde Regional Library was one of the sponsors of the program. That's what we're talking about.
The word sponsor, okay.
Now, they need to retract that, or they need to say, yeah, we sponsored it. In which case, if they sponsored it, then I'll be talking to the Attorney General's office about what they can do and what they can't do.
We are, in fact, not sponsoring it. It is sponsored by Give Freely and the RISE initiative.
Well, then you need to have the Washington Daily News put under retraction that you are not a sponsor.
I'll speak with WDN.
Well, understand, this is a hardball game, because when you start taking up communist ideas and sponsoring them, the public doesn't like this.
I understand.
Yes.
Didn't you just say that did you just state that you just provide the internet access to people? You're not sponsoring it, you just got computers there for people to use. Did you just say that?
Yes, sir.
I thought I heard that. And there's nothing wrong with that.
I saw the article that said they did sponsor it, and she's not disavowing that strongly enough. For some reason, you guys think this is funny. This is not funny.
It's kind of like we had a conversation earlier before the meeting. Just because it's in the newspaper or you hear it on the news doesn't mean that it's true.
That's very true.
But if the newspaper prints an untruth, they will do a retraction. And that's all I'm asking for, is if it's not true, please have the newspaper print a retraction.
I will contact them and see what was printed.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
All right, we're down to the next item, the commissioner and the school board meetings.
We're back to politics again. Yeah, I've been going to school board meetings, and I've been sitting there with my notebook, and I've been watching what's going on. And I've been writing articles about what really goes on at the school board meeting, not what the school board says goes on at the school board meeting. Well, guess what happened at the last school board meeting? They voted to hold their meeting the same night as the commissioners' meeting, so I can't attend the school board meeting.
Did they say that?
Frankie, I just stated a fact.
No, I want to clarify.
No,
Did they say that in their meeting?
They will never, they never said it, Frankie. How stupid do you think they are?
Well, there's probably a reason they did that.
Well, what is it?
It's not you. I can assure you.
I can assure you that I'm part of the reason, because they don't want reporters to show up and write articles about what really goes on at their meetings, because there's some bad things going on at their meetings.
Well, it looks like you might have to designate somebody to go for you.
Well,
another reporter.
That can certainly happen, but I just think when you have meetings for the public that are important as school board meetings, city council meetings, and commissioner meetings, when you start holding them on the same night, you're disenfranchising the public from those meetings. And the public needs to be aware that the cover-up at the school board meetings is still going on, and they're working really hard to keep knowledgeable people that can see what's going on from being at the meetings. So I move that this board request the school board to hold their meetings on any other night than the regular meeting night of the Board of County Commissioners.
I agree with that because we give a lot of money to the school board. I mean, tens of millions of dollars every year. And I think that it should be on two different items.
It shows it.
Okay. You made a motion. Did you second the motion?
We'll make that as a second.
Okay. Randy?
Discussion. Yeah, I hate to disappoint you, but they moved the meeting because they have a lot of sports on Tuesday night. They don't have as many sports on Monday night, and the principals and athletes that are being observed cannot be there on the Tuesday night, so they moved it to Monday night. And I know that because my wife's on the school board. And also, one other point, I sat behind you at the meeting, and I noticed you don't write in cursive.
What do I write in?
Easy read, writing,
It's cursive writing, Randy, and why are you sitting there? Why are you sitting there spying on me?
Well, I mean, you hold it up like that and write.
No, I don't. I don't. That's untrue. See, this is why observers at school board meetings need to be there. The public needs to be there to be able to see for themselves, because there's a whole lot of things that happen at school board meetings. Like I quoted somebody at the school board meeting exactly, and they're up on the internet claiming that I didn't quote them exactly. I did quote them exactly. They're lying.
Okay.
The public needs to be there.
We got a motion. Anybody else want to throw something in?
Yeah, I just want to ask this one question. Wednesday nights, they don't play sports on Wednesday nights, do they?
Prayer meeting.
Yeah, that's
They
prayer
have
meeting.
Prayer meeting?
Yes, you may not go, but.
Prayer meeting.
Well, which prayer
That is
meeting
prayer
do they
meeting.
go to? I didn't think we were supposed to involve schools with any established religion.
Okay.
All
All
right.
right.
Go to church on Wednesday and they, okay.
All right. All those in favor of requesting that they move their meeting from the Monday night back to some other night? Was that, have I paraphrased
From the
it?
first Monday of the month. It's the first Monday of the month. That's the request.
Okay.
They moved their meeting to the first Monday of the month. Gee, what a coincidence.
Okay.
Isn't it
All right.
amazing?
You smiling all the way to the bank.
Absolutely.
So in other words, you'd be satisfied with the second Monday of the month. They
Oh, I
move
don't
to the
care when
second
they-
Monday, or the third Monday, or the fourth Monday.
I don't care when they do it.
How about the third Thursday?
I don't care.
Well, on the second Monday, that's when a lot of the municipalities, do you not cover then in your,
No.
with your paper?
The school board is a real serious problem in Beaufort County, and that's why I cover it.
Okay.
Question been called.
All right, all those in favor of the motion, raise your right hand. Those opposed? Okay, we're down to the assassination of Charlie Kirk.
Okay, that's me. A lot of people out there are going to remember the day that Charlie Kirk was assassinated. I mean, JFK, I remember where I was in 1963. I was in third grade at the old John Small School. I remember walking home. They closed the school day down. JFK was a very transformative president. Any president assassinated or attempted assassination is a terrible thing. Charlie Kirk was a very transformative, non-governmental person. He started a movement that is becoming the largest, in just a few years, the largest on-campus movement in America today. It is, since his assassination, it's gone crazy. There's over 80,000 applications for to become included in Turning Point USA, which was the group that he formed. And that's, I checked, there's only like 38,000 colleges and community colleges in America today. That means there's a bunch of high schools looking to become involved with Turning Point USA. The wonderful thing is about Charlie Kirk, him being a transformative person, and he's getting, the left hates him because he made a lot of sense. He would argue against the status quo, the issues of the day that the left embraced. And he'd say, prove me wrong, prove me wrong. And he's been doing that for years. I've been following him for 10 years. I thought the young man was 35, 40 years old because his wisdom at that age would have been enormous. But he was only 31 years old when he was assassinated. It's remarkable. It's terrible. It's a blight on American society. You want to speak later? Okay. Yes, it is. But what I'm trying to finish after being interrupted is that it is such an important thing, and I want this board to recognize the fact that we lost one of America's great young people, somebody who was trying to change the dynamic within schools. Schools are indoctrination factories in a lot of places. How do I know that? I have children that have gone through Beaufort County schools and have gone to East Carolina University, and I've seen it firsthand that they are indoctrinated into this and that, save the planet at all costs. Believe it or not, I've got 2 children with Trump derangement syndrome. TDS is it's a blight upon our society. There are so many people. Why do you think the left blames Trump for everything? They don't know any better. They don't even know how anything works. It's Trump's fault. Trump must be shot. He must be killed. 50% of America believes he should have been killed that are Democrats. 50% of all Democrats in America believe he should have been killed the 2 times that they tried to kill him. And both the people that they caught were leftists. So, well, one of them they didn't catch. He killed himself. Well, he was shot. But weirdly, under the Biden administration, they got rid of all the evidence within a number of hours. It was crazy, but we won't go there. That corrupts presidency is gone and will stay gone. And that is what I'm trying to embrace is the truth. We need the truth in America today. Charlie Kirk was emblazoned truth. And I will tell you this. When the schools come before us, I'm going to ask them questions about its Turning Point USA within the schools. And I hope you guys will understand that that's something I wanted to ask and something I'm very concerned with. And I'd like to see that started here in Beaufort County since that is going to be a thing. And when the community college comes, I want to know if that's going on. We've discussed LGBTQ and all these other clubs that are going on out there. I want to know about Turning Point USA. So I just want you to know that it will be a discussion point for me. And if anybody else wants to say anything, they can before I go on to my next item.
Okay, hearing none, you want to go to ICE with the sheriff?
Yes. Well, it was a longer. I came up with a longer title than that, and it wasn't just the sheriff. But we're gonna settle on that in just a minute. What we see in a lot of these states, where they are sanctuary states, and in those states are sanctuary counties, and in those counties there are sanctuary cities, we are seeing ICE inhibited from doing their job. We've never seen this in America today, and it's allowed to happen. Activist judges, all of them, well, almost all of them appointed by Obama and Biden, are doing everything they can to stop the president from doing what he needs to do to remove the worst of the worst, and then he's going to start working on the others. That's just the way it's going to be. If you're here in this country illegally, you are illegal. That's the way the law is written. You are illegal alien. You are not undocumented. You didn't lose your papers somewhere. You are illegal. You are a cost upon society in so many ways. Well, we had 10 to 15 million estimates. We don't know for sure of illegals coming in across the border and flown in and across the northern border, wherever they could get in during the Biden administration. It was a policy to bring them in. It was a political thing, first of all, and where they would settle mostly in sanctuary states. It would increase the population there, so they would have more representation in Congress. They don't have to have citizenship to be counted in the population. That's just the way it is. I mean, they've tried to stop that. They hadn't been able to stop it yet because it's unclear in the Constitution. But the next thing they want to do is vote them as soon as they can, illegally or not. They are doing it in certain counties all over the nation right now because it's local elections. We need to end this. This is not the way you run a country. The country will not survive. Now, we have a sheriff in this county who's talked to me, and the sheriff in this county wants to do whatever he can to move them on out of his jail. They're a cost to this county when we put them in jail. We have a lot of illegals in our jail right now. He's going to move them out just as quick as he can. Now, I'm sure there's going to be some cases of murder or something else where people were involved locally. You know, society's going to want to get its pound of flesh. So they probably won't be moved out. But drug convictions, things like that, small drugs, whatever it is, they're going to be moved out here, and he's going to work with ICE. Now, if I witness as a county commissioner, now I'm up for election, I may not get reelected, but if I am a county commissioner or even a citizen, I'm not ever one going to see what is going on in some of these other states, where they are sanctuary states, sanctuary counties, and sanctuary cities, where the enforcement of law, federal law, is being inhibited by local law, which cannot be done. There's the supremacy clause in the Constitution of the United States. You can't do it. They don't know that. Judges, obviously, activist judges do not know that. And it's a sad condition. And I think it comes down to, this is great. This is why we have Turning Point USA, hopefully starting in our schools, so the indoctrination will end, so people can become smarter and understand that we have laws, and then the law of the land must be followed. No one is above the law. We've heard that for a lot of years when they were indicting Trump with all this lawfare, silly stuff. It works both ways. No one is above the law.
Okay, Brian, we're down to closed session.
Let me make one comment about what Stan was talking about. Stan, I noticed you said this involved the sheriff. Do you think we should invite the sheriff to give us a report as to how ICE relates to the jail and the
Yes, but I think we ought to do it earlier in the session when the more people here, we're in the dregs right now when you and me talk. We need to do it earlier in the session. Should we do that in the next meeting?
Yeah,
I'd like to see it in the next meeting, and say in the first hour.
Well, it's not going to happen unless we make a motion and vote
I make
on
a
it.
motion that the sheriff come and visit with us in the first hour, early. If it can't be the first hour, close to the first hour of the meeting, next meeting. Because Sheriff Hammonds is, he's serious about aiding ICE any way he can, and I hold him up for that. I'm very thankful for we have a sheriff like that.
Okay.
Second.
So we got a motion and a second. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Those opposed? All right, Brian, we're down to you in the closed session. So,
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It's a closed session matter for personnel.
yes. You want? Yeah, you want to read us into it?
Motion is needed to go into closed session under GS 143-3, 1811A5 to consider the qualification, competence, performance, character, fitness, conditions of appointment, or conditions of initial appointment of an individual public officer or employee or prospective public officer or employee, or to hear investigated complaints. A public body may not consider the qualification.
So moved.
Okay, got a motion and a second to go. All those in favor going into closed session?
I'm hoping we'll see the reason I did it.
Okay, we're coming out of closed session. Need a motion to do that.
I'd like to make a motion that we create this.
What-
Gotta come out.
Gotta come out.
I'm sorry. Make a motion that we come out of closed session. Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second to come out of closed session. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Okay. All right.
I'll make a motion that we create this position that the tax manager. Is that right?
Yes, tax manager position at a grade 82.
That's right. I'll second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion before we take the vote? All right, all those in favor of the motion, raise your right hand. Those opposed? Thank you. All right, need a motion to adjourn.
So moved. Second.